Welcome to the Interrogation True Crime Stories podcast. All the stories told on this show are either fabricated, alleged, or didn't happen at all, and shouldn't be used in the court of law. We hope. Welcome to the Interrogation True Crime Stories podcast. I'm your host, Corey David. We have a very, very special guest with us today, all the way in from Los Angeles. It's Anna Valenzuela,
Hey.
everybody. So happy you're here.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here. You are of Denver comedians. You are part of the 50-50 who can actually say my last name. So congratulations.
Not going to lie, almost botched it on Friday.
That would have resulted in a stabbing.
Yeah.
I only bring stabbings.
Which would be, I would understand. Like, of all the, there's, on the list of things that you could actually, like, get really upset with somebody about, like, at a comedy show, there's plenty of things to get upset with an audience member for, but, like, the host botching the name, anytime somebody does that, or they're something along the lines of, like, this lady's super funny, or
yeah, I've gotten this one. This lady's boyfriend is super funny.
God,
yeah, I've gotten
gross.
that one. She's got an amazing boyfriend.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, single now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like when they make like any comment about like your figure, or she's gorgeous. I'm just like, shut the fuck up.
She's a woman. I used to have a joke about that. Like sometimes I go on stage and they're like, I think it was something like, this next woman is attached to a man.
Yeah.
Oh, she takes a dick. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Anna. I can't remember her name. She's not a real person.
Yeah, I think she's all the way from Venezuela.
Yeah,
give it up for Anna.
Oh yeah, but I actually don't like because I do have so many syllables in my, like, there's a lot of vowels. There's a lot of vowels having a fight in my last name, so I don't really like freak out over it. I just make a joke. I usually just start laughing and then reintroduce myself, and then the audience laughs because they want to know I'm okay. They don't want to have an experience where they're like, everyone's fighting. You know, like
of course,
that doesn't feel good for them.
Occasionally I'll get like Cody Davis, and I was like, okay, also an interchangeable Mighty Ducks character name. Like, I get it.
To be fair, you do have strong Cody vibes. You have a strong Cody energy.
I've been trying to ditch that my entire life.
Really? People have been calling you,
No,
okay.
just that like energy, I think a lot of
The
people,
Cody energy.
the Cody energy.
It's because you're a Corey with a K.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, my name was supposed to be Shannon, and then my grandmother said, no, all the boys at school make fun of him if his name's Shannon. So then it was Corey, and then it was like, well, that's not unique enough. So then it was Corey with a K, and that has plagued me for my entire life.
Shannon, think of you would be a completely different person if you were a Shannon.
Yeah.
Like a man Shannon?
Maybe more empathetic, more kind.
More tweed.
Yeah.
A lot more tweed.
Yeah.
Like,
Because that's a reputation. That's a name you have to uphold.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, people
yeah.
expect something out of a Shannon.
Yeah, like a Corey with a K fits this.
I
this
guess.
like snowboard, like kickflip up to the stage energy. And like, that is a Shannon, maybe less so.
Probably less so. Cool. So how's everything been in Denver so far? I know I've been to a couple of your shows. You're so fucking funny.
You had me on your show. Thank you so much.
I know. I mean, I had you on mine, but then I've been to like a handful of other ones, And I was not really familiar with your comedy before you like moved out here or came out here.
Well, join the masses.
Yeah. Well, I just, that's always one of my favorite things about living here in Denver specifically is that we have so many people coming in from out of town. And I knew you were great friends with Brandy Posey and John Michael Bond, and they're two people that I love dearly. And so if you're traveling with them, then I already know that you're like a cool person and somebody that I would probably get along with really well. But then, actually getting a chance to see you do like my show, late night comedy, or any of the other stuff, it's just like, you have such a fun set. You have such a great stage presence. It's really cool.
Denver audiences are extremely fun to play with. They want to be played with. They want to talk back. At your show, they were somebody
threw a pint glass on the ground like right before you went up.
It was such a weird set.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, how's everybody doing? Bad. What?
Yeah. And I'm just like, these people are so fucking stupid.
It was just, everybody's having a good time. It was fun. But yeah, thank you so much. And also, like, your comedy is, I finally managed to see you do a set. And you're a very fun and probably I could tell, like, you have strong host energy.
Sure.
Like, you brought me up, but I didn't get to see you do a host set. And I was like, this little person's got mad rhythm. You got that late night rhythm.
It's hard.
Remember us when you were.
Keep it tight. Well, it's hard because when you do run a bunch of shows, and if I'm hosting down at if I'm down at the club, it's usually like a host or like that 5 to 7 minute spot, and I feel like that's just a tight window and you're usually going up at the beginning of the show regardless, right? I think I've just gotten so conditioned, and I don't know if this is good or a bad thing, but to have that kind of energy most of the time when I'm performing, because it's what I'm so used to doing. Yeah. It's kind of like you were saying when we were talking before, was, when you're on and off stage, it's almost like two different personas. Yeah. And then sometimes I have that like stand in the pocket, tell the joke kind of energy. And then the other times I'm just like way more enthusiastic. But if you hang out with me otherwise, it's like, I like to do like yoga and meditate, and I'm pretty like, not reserved, but a little bit more quiet, and like, and then when I'm on stage, it's a little bit more spastic and kind of like. I
don't see you as spastic.
Well, not spastic, but just
like a spastic's my brand. I know a spaz when I see a spaz.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you have spastic waiting because you're 5 years in, right?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't get real spazzy until about 2 years ago, and so I'm wondering if you have like more. If you're, because you're still evolving. I'm still evolving. Sure. Like, we're still evolving as comedians. So I wonder if there's going to be like a weird, like, spastic energy that comes out, that'll be fascinating.
Yeah. Sometimes I get a little bit, it depends on the bit, really. Like the bit kind of, for me, dictates the energy that I'm going to be putting out, as opposed to me overperforming the bit. Okay. It kind of suits whatever that bit calls for. Okay. Is kind of how I express it.
So you have an ass eating bit. What is the ass eating bit energy?
It's excited. I think, because I think it's like what my therapist told me when I was really scared to talk to my mom about my first tattoo. He's like, you just got to be excited. Don't give them an opportunity to feel like it's a weird thing or a bad thing. You're like, no, it's great. People love it,
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. That is very much like when I have to deliver bad news, I'm usually like, and here's the opportunity. I'm like turned into a timeshare salesman of grief. Yeah. Just like, and here's the opportunity. And this is where it's really good. And I think that is like, that's always a plus. That's like always fun. Yeah. So yeah, I get that.
And if I'm a little too deadpan and I tell like a darker joke or something that's, like something a little darker, I think I come across a little too Ted Bundy. And people are like, this might be for real.
Your deadpan, you got me with a couple of deadpan jokes throughout the week. And the thing is yes, your deadpan, it's good to have for deadpan humor. It's one thing, but if you have like dead person face, like you can't be deadpan with like murder face. And I want to correct you because you have that joke about how like you look like Ted Bundy. I don't think you look like Ted Bundy. Okay. I think you look like the guy from 50 Shades of Grey when he was in The Fall.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I remember. Yeah, okay, that checks out.
Like literally Google if you can. I don't want anything to explode there, but like Google the dude from The Fall. And he's like a BTK type character. He's like very like when I saw you I was like, "Oh, goddamn."
Nice.
Yeah, that particular actor. What's his name? It's like D. It's like starts with a D. I can't remember everybody.
Not John Coogan, right?
No,
never mind. It's something came up for this movie called The Fall Dude, which
is definitely... The Fall, right? The Fall, BBC. All right, if you guys are watching, you're like, this is some hot Googling.
Yeah, we don't have a young Jamie, sorry.
Hot Googs.
The Fall. Oh, yeah, I see what you're talking about.
Yeah. 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 And that's a person who's played a serial killer. That isn't a serial killer.
Yeah, I'll put up a picture of the...
yeah, right?
Yeah, this guy.
How... I'm not wrong.
You're not wrong.
I'm not wrong. There's there's a scene where he like breaks into a house all cat burglar. I can't talk. It's a crime podcast and I can't say cat burglar. Cat burglar style with like a
Like the beanie on?
Yeah.
The thing
I don't know.
on my head.
Altitude sickness. From here on out, I will blame any memory lapses or just forgetting things on altitude
I mean,
sickness.
I've known you for 4 days now, and I feel like you've just slowly slipped into dementia every time I see you. So I think that's probably
you've
the culprit.
gotten to know me. Actually,
Yeah,
that's the vibe.
It's the lack of oxygen that's killing your brain.
Yeah, just slowly. No, that's not it. It's a lack of oxygen, a lack of estrogen, a lack of brain cells, functional brain cells, because I was a really bad kid.
Same. That's usually what I talk about on the show and what we talk about on the live show too. So crimes. Yeah.
Crimes.
So before we get into your story or stories, we cover a few things that I just found in the news that I think are kind of silly and fun.
Okay.
This is always kind of just a reminder of like, just because people do dumb shit doesn't mean they're bad people. Everybody makes a mistake in their life from time to time, and it's just like better to reflect on it and laugh about it. But sometimes people do really dumb things, and it's easy for us to make fun of it. So headline first. Woman who brought raccoon to North Dakota bar is charged with assault.
With a deadly weapon?
With a deadly mammal, maybe.
With a deadly mammal? With a trash panda? Assault with a trash panda?
Is this kind of like a Guardians of the Galaxy type situation where the raccoon actually knows how to fuck with people and fight and has a gun?
She brought full-on raccoony with her, which is insane.
This is like her version. This is like a more white trash version of Ratatouille. Like if you're just like living the sticks and you just like have a raccoon under your hat and you're like, it's doing your bidding.
Have you seen Everything is Everywhere All at Once?
Yeah.
Yeah, raccoon.
Oh, it's that. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
All right. Altitude sickness, ladies and gentlemen. Altitude. Hey, you know what's fun? Explaining riffs and jokes. It's like real funny. People love it.
Yeah. A callback is when you have to explain it twice.
Dumb. Okay. So what was she like? She was arrested for assault, but is there any other details?
So
like what in the Florida are we doing here?
Brought a wild raccoon into North Dakota bar, prompted state officials to issue a warning about potential rabies exposure, and she's facing criminal charges. Misdemeanor counts of providing false information, tampering with police physical evidence, and unlawful possession of fur bearers.
Fur bearers?
Fur bearers. Is that like the right to bear arms? But it's like it's paws. Like it just replies to like smaller rodents.
Fur bearers. That must be a classification of critter. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, as a woman who grew up in the middle of goddamn nowhere, this is my PSA. Don't play with squirrels. They carry the plague. And raccoons, unless they've been domesticated and seen by a vet, often have rabies and distemper. So they're not wrong.
They're temperamental.
Yeah, you can't just be bringing a pet raccoon.
I got bit by a squirrel once.
Do you have the plague?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I was going to say, you thought it was the altitude. No, it's just my body is wasting away on the inside. Does it check out?
Well, the plague's more of an outside thing. It's more of a pores and like it's kind of like monkeypox. You get a lot of weird, uncomfortable sores all over your body.
I went to state school, so I don't really know a lot about that.
I went to community college, but I've fucked some really smart people.
Yeah, it's like they didn't tell me anything. I just inherited their knowledge through dick.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of, you know how guys, they have to listen to a lot of like feelings or whatever a lady's done with her day. Imagine that. But I'm listening to what happened at the science lab. So you would not believe when she blew off her eyebrows how she reacted. You know, that kind of thing.
All right. So this woman found the raccoon on the side of the road, and then during happy hour, brought it to Maddock Bar and showed the raccoon to customers.
So this is a free range raccoon. This isn't, she didn't know, she just met that raccoon.
Yeah.
That is like bringing... That's like bringing a Tinder date to Thanksgiving.
And by Tinder date, you mean a guy that was holding out a sign on the side of the road with his thumb up and be like, hey, you want to be my plus one?
Yeah, don't question the way I Tinder.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. I'm having a nice time.
I'm trying to get back at my mother. You want to show up to Thanksgiving dinner with me and make a scene?
Hey, baby, you get that little bindle stick up in this car right now. We're going to go have mashed potatoes with my grandma.
Yeah, you like pie? You don't have to say nothing. Just eat all the food.
Yeah, just eat the food and try not to yell about the government.
Do it with your hands.
Yeah, it's... yeah, that's crazy. She found a raccoon and brought it into a bar instead of taking it to literally animal control. You should she should have gone straight to animal control.
Yeah.
That you can't. Also, the raccoon, if she could handle it, it was probably ill.
Probably, but I don't know. So, like, my mom had 2 pet raccoons when she was younger.
You buried the lead. I'm over here talking about raccoon facts like I know some shit. And you out here being like, my mom is a raccoon lady. What? And like, you're from what, New York? I didn't know that they had like, what? And mom country? What's going on up there?
So my mom used to work at the zoo. This was like before we were even born. And the raccoon
Mom worked at a zoo?
I know. And then
as a zookeeper?
Yes. And then
how does it feel to know you'll never be cooler than your mom?
I mean, pretty bad, especially because like that's the coolest thing she's ever done in her entire life. And then the uncool part was that as soon as she had kids, she stopped working at the zoo. And I have never forgiven her for that. I'm like, oh, you wanted a job with stability and benefits? I could have been playing with dolphins at the age of 5.
Yeah.
You took that away from me.
Yeah. That's how you ended up with pet raccoons. You had zoo raccoons.
Yeah. So my mom had, they had babies, and my mom put 2 in her pocket, like her jacket pocket, and brought them home. Their names were Tinkus and Tyner.
How long did they live? I want to know everything.
Well, so they had them for like 2 years, and then, they're wild animals. So sometimes they would like run away and then they would come back. And then one day they ran away and they never came back. So apparently they were similar to cats, but just more, did more damage.
I follow the TikTok accounts.
Yeah,
I do. I mean, I'm saying it's a bad idea to own a wild animal, but if somebody were like, I had this fully domesticated raccoon I can't take care of anymore, or this fully domesticated possum I can't take care of anymore, I'd be like, hand me those little trash pandas. Give them to me. Give them to me. And I would keep them in my cleavage forever.
I'll adopt your babies.
I'll adopt David Cross, you're a god. Anyway, I'll adopt your babies. Definitely very into that energy. I do love a little raccoon. I feel like most comedians, our spirit animal is a raccoon.
Yeah. I was going to say very fearful if you put us into a corner, mostly eats trash, but just ultimately wants to be loved and not afraid to go to a bar. The only funnier thing would be is if like there was an open mic referenced in this fucking article. They're like, she showed up to the Rockies open mic at 6 p.m.
She was at where was I last night? The Lion's Lair.
Yeah.
She was at the Lion's Lair. She walked in with 2 raccoons. Nobody was the wiser.
Listen, Beth and Rocky just wanted to get a set. That's...
Man, this lady, I like that she was belligerent enough to, because you know how that happened was that she walked in and the bartender looked up and went, Beth, not today with that raccoon, go home. Yeah. And she was like
today's not a good raccoon day.
Yeah, you can't just be bringing in wild animals. This is a business.
It's Taco Tuesday. We get busy. It's like, just bring them in off hours. It's
going to end up in the crock pot full of hot dogs. Come on. You know what?
So from the woman that was detained, it's unfair and too much was done to detain an innocent raccoon. They were not worried about the health of us if we had rabies or not. They were worried about finding and killing Rocky and putting me behind bars.
Bitch, you just met Rocky.
Yeah, you don't know what this guy's been up to. You don't know his past. He just got done murdering a family of 5 and he was strolling down the road.
One time I was late to a show because in front of my Honda Fit, which is a very small car, in front of my Honda Fit were like 6 raccoons just gangbanging, just like post up, just like, what's up? And I was like, oh, I guess I'm not getting in the passenger side of my car anymore. Yeah. And I texted a video of me being like, trying to get the raccoons to move. I was like, get away from my car. And I just texted it to the producer and he was like, get here whenever you can. Yeah. Take your time. That looks like a situation. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get in my car. Right. I have no idea.
That's a classic kind of like, hey, I'm late for work because I'm snowed in. They're like, prove it. And you're like, see all these raccoons banging outside of my car? Exactly. I'm not going to move them.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a heavy raccoon fall.
More out of respect than anything. Mm-hmm. Yeah, fuck, dude. Yeah, so I don't know if I'd ever have a pet raccoon. This lady seems pretty happy. I hope I think they're in love, and I hope they just have a happy life together.
I hope she contacts your mom to find out how to care for her new raccoon friend.
I did just realize that I did tell a story about a crime that my mom committed. So
she stole raccoons.
Yeah, that counts for something. I don't even know what you'd file that under. Is that petty larceny?
She raccoon napped.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
She was like, oh man, those raccoons. Mm-hmm. They lived a nice life. They probably had fun with kids. Like,
no, they hated other people. They liked my mom and my dad.
And they were like, fucked him, kids.
Fuck everybody. Fuck everybody else that isn't giving us fucking fresh sardines.
Well, why didn't you give them fresh sardine?
It sounded like a terrible arrangement. There's no part of this
why
that
do you feed them sardines?
I think they eat fish, right?
Don't they eat Del Taco wrappers?
Yeah, I mean when they're in the wild, but when they're domesticated bitches, they get canned fish.
In oil or water? I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll have to ask. I'll hit her up. We could call her right now and ask her.
Wow, that's really cool. Did your mom in retirement become like a docent for a zoo or something? Like become
We
like
had a lot of animals
lady?
growing up, though. We did have we had dogs, we had birds, a snake, we had a tortoise that would free range around the house. Like we didn't have him in a terrarium or anything.
That's fun.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why my parents put in hardwood floors was because the tortoise knew to go to the bathroom once a week. We kind of trained it till we would hold it over the sink on Sundays, at the Lord's Day. And
y'all are Mormon. That's a lot of work for a Sunday. You're fasting. That thing's fucking shitty.
Yeah, it's really symbolism. The reptiles are beneath us. So on a day that we do not eat, he will empty his insides into the sink. And
God.
and then but occasionally he would go on the floor, and so it was easier to wipe up on hardwood than obviously on a rug.
He's a big turtle man.
Yeah, he was great.
He's a tortoise.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Tortoise.
Good Lord.
Reptiles don't need to know their names.
Did you call Snake?
Nah, I forget what I even named the snake.
Oh, the snake was yours? You're a snake guy?
Nah, I thought I would be, and then I'm like, I don't want this thing. I mean, I just really liked pets when I was a kid. I remember wanting a chinchilla, and
chinchillas will pee at you.
Yeah,
they do. They can pee at a distance. That's their defense mechanism.
Self-defense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a good tool. If you can have that kind of range.
My cat peed on me in the pandemic, and I've never forgiven him, and I don't know why he did it. He was he just sat on my lap. He meowed at me. He sat on my lap. Then he moved 6 inches away from my lap and peed directly into my lap like a fuck you.
Cats are so fucking
and I was
shitty.
like, why are you like this? I yelled, why are you like this? It was because I was FaceTiming with my ex.
You're like, could this get any worse? And then a cat pees on you,
and literally, I'm just like, okay, all right, here we go.
It's a pretty good symbol of the moment.
Yeah, exactly. This is how this relationship is going. Anyway.
Hey, that's going to wrap it up for the dumb crimes that I find on the internet.
We just got one done.
No, that's good. That's kind
of...
No, the more we talk, the better it is.
Yeah, it's a podcast.
That's kind of the goal. So, let's dig into some of your stuff. And I always like to preface this with it doesn't always have to be about crimes that you've committed. It could just be something where the police were involved. But again, just kind of I don't know. I think talking about some of this stuff makes it easier to feel yeah, you know what? We've all done some dumb shit.
Oh yeah. And I grew up around a lot of dumb shit. And I will say, because I know that you've had an episode a lot about shoplifting. I do have a love affair with shoplifting since I was a kid. I remember when I was a kid, I would just I really was I want to take this thing.
How old?
8, 9.
8. So you would typically probably just shopping around with your parents or something?
No, alone. Store? I was a free range kid.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the tortoise.
Yeah.
I was just wandering around.
Just shitting on floors and
taking
stuff.
Stealing trinkets from the pharmacy.
Yeah, okay, so from did your taste kind of evolve over time? When you first started stealing stuff, was it anything in particular?
Yeah, it was again, little cute little toys and tchotchkes and stuff. And I did get caught one time. The lady was like, I'm gonna call your dad. I grew up in a really, really small town. We had, speaking of crime, we had 2.5 prisons. So we had a men's prison, a youth authority, and a fire camp.
It almost sounds like an ABC show.
2.5 prisons. Up next, 2.5 prisons.
Yeah.
It's a Chuck Lorre show.
It's just two dudes and a juvenile delinquent.
Exactly. And so I grew up in this town, and they were just it was the kind of place where if you climb somebody's fence, there was a lot of just mischievous B&Es, just crawling into somebody's property and playing with their old abandoned farmhouse or something.
Sure. So a property people were living on, but then you would just go to abandoned buildings on the property and stuff.
Oh yeah, jumped a lot of fences. Oh, we used to act like little hobos. This is real funny. There's a train, and I mean that. Listen, when I say just hear me out. I mean cartoon hobos. I don't mean, I'm not trying to discourage any community. Please don't tweet at me. Anyway, here's what I'm saying.
Train people.
Oh, I
Is
don't
that
know
worse?
what to say. That's not, why is it worse? It's worse. So we figured out, there was a train that would come into town. It would literally like if this notebook is my house, the train is the grapefruit can. It would just stop in front of my house. And there was this big dirt mound that was meant to stop the train. It was not going to stop the train.
Stop a train?
It was not going to stop this little train.
Man, stuff like that makes me feel like I could have been an engineer. Like somebody is like, who thought?
The whole town had a real good enough vibe. It was called Ione, and its original name was Bedbug. It was really doing great.
Let's go meet down at the dirt pile.
I grew up on so many dirt piles. Anyway, I'm like real good at breaking into things. So what happened we would the train would come in and we would put our pennies down and like put stuff down for it to crush. Very fun.
Yeah, of course. Because you're like, well, would be great is killing people on a train.
It was cargo, and also it was, can I just tell you, it was very small. This was before the internet. So there's a little bit of, you know how people love Stranger Things?
Of course.
Like imagine that mischief, but with like no oogity boogity things.
No paranormal activity, if you will.
Yeah. And so we learned that if you waited for it to start moving a little bit, you can run beside the train and just jump on that bitch moving, ride it for a few miles and then jump off.
Really? Like,
yeah. And then right back.
It would still stay at that like slower speed and then just tuck and roll and just.
Yeah.
Or are you like high speed?
Not high speed. No.
I want to go fast.
Yeah. As soon as you would start feeling it picking up, then that's when you would jump off.
Abandon ship.
Yeah. You would abandon ship. So I don't know if those are crimes, but those are definitely like crime adjacent.
That's technically
strains.
Kind of a crime. So with the train stuff, did you ever get like caught or did anybody ever kind of like, okay.
Not at all. And I'm confident that if I had to hop on a moving train today, I probably could do it.
Yeah. Because you know the technique.
I could do it. Yeah.
I was going to say, that could be the easiest way for you to tour, actually, is to just train hop.
The train hop tour.
Yeah, like the Beatnik days.
The Bindle Stick tour.
Yeah.
That'll be, So,
And you actually just do gigs in whatever town you wind up in. Like, you don't even have like a destination.
God.
Oh, for God. The comedy show.
This comedy show is happening to you.
Yeah.
And then, so then like shoplifting continued. Like when I started drinking and using, I was 13. So that's a crime unto its own. Sure. It's like I'm a 13-year-old drinking and using. And
because I started smoking weed when I was like 12. So I started pretty early. So right around that same time frame.
Yeah, it must have gone over well with the raccoons. Like,
they loved
the tortoise was so disappointed.
Yeah. He actually got faster when he smoked weed. He would get. Could you imagine a tortoise with the zoomies?
Did you get the animals high? Were you that monster kid who got the animals high?
I think we might have tried to get our dog high one time, but that was like maybe once. She definitely did not like it, so it was pretty obvious. Like, hey, this is a dumb idea. We shouldn't do that. Yeah. No.
I never liked that. I'd be at a party and they'd be like, he loves to drink beer. And I'd be like, I don't like this energy.
I don't think he knows what he's doing. Yeah. Isn't that our responsibility to take care of somebody that doesn't know what they're doing?
The guy getting the dog drunk and high also has definitely put peanut butter on his dick and tried to get the dog to lick it.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that's like...
He's like even probably brought it up at a party just to see how it would play.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
All right. You want some salsa.
Anyway, don't leave me alone with your kids.
Or the salsa.
Yeah, and then it was when I was using, because I was a real cute little girl, especially like I really was. I was like a fugly teenager and a very sad one at that. Okay. So I was always like looking down.
Are you thinking like emo, Hot Topic, or punk rock?
Punk rock, Hot Topic-y, gothy. Okay. Kind of all the things.
Were you a witch ever?
I mean, I'm Mexican, so I'm always a little bit witching.
Okay, fair enough.
It's a little bruja all the time. But not at the time. I mean, I hung out with a lot of those people. Mm-hmm. I had way more gothy friends. Okay. But like I definitely like went to a Tool concert when I was like 14.
Tight.
Tight. Sick. Marilyn Manson, outside Tool. It was fucking tight.
Yeah, we've been going to the same stuff.
Yeah. And that was a wild concert because a man yelled, "I'm on PCP." Hell, and then an hour later, a different guy grabbed my boobs. And I was like, I just yelled, "I'm a child."
We're just going to keep announcing what we are.
I'm a child. Yeah.
I'm hungry.
Exactly. And then when my using got really bad, I would steal booze and groceries.
So I was curious, would you steal anything that you could sell for drugs or anything to use?
I didn't have the good return grift. I've heard a lot of good return grift where you're like, you buy something and then you return it and then you get money for it, or not buy it, like steal it. What I was like, I would load up a cart of groceries, like I bought them, and then confidently walk out of the grocery store and load it into my car.
Yeah. I mean, it's really, that's the key to stealing, is just like eyes ahead and walk with confidence.
Exactly. Right? Like eyes on the prize, 3 handles of Jim Beam at the bottom, real living my best life. And nobody, because I was this like cute little girl with a pixie cut, like ambiguously ethnic. I was like the cute young crime version of Vin Diesel. Like you couldn't tell what I was. You just knew that. And what was also funny is if I got stopped, I would just confidently but briskly abandon the goods and walk away.
Because they can't do anything.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? You make $13 an hour. Don't chase me.
Right.
I wouldn't chase you. We all know that capitalism's the problem here. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a societal thing. It's not a me thing. I'm just a part of the system.
Yeah, it's also the drug addiction and the complete lack of being a person at that point. But then and then I got really into like stealing clothes. So I moved in with my grandma. I was living in San Luis Obispo, which is a very nice community. And it's a lot of what you call like polydollies. So it's like girls who go to the state school, it's an ag school, they have a business department. It's a lot of like, at the time it's O2, so it's a lot of like juicy couture, the lowest of pants, like literally pubes sticking out the top, the lowest of pants.
Good luck.
And and it's also extremely white community. And like, so here I am with just this like weird Vin Diesel, like ambiguously ethnic body. And I would just like walk into the Gap and try on a bunch of stuff and just fucking walk out with it.
With like the tag still, like the ink thing still on it?
Ink things weren't really a big deal at that time, but they're not hard to get off. And if you know enough scumbags, someone's got the thing from when they worked at a Charlotte Russe 1,000 years ago.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, somebody stole the device to hack into the system.
You got to find that scumbag.
Yeah.
And then,
and also if you're cool enough, you could just make it a fashion statement. You'd be like, yeah, you leave the fucking ink tags on, you idiots. What are you, losers?
You go to another store, you go, accidentally, I bought this the other day, accidentally left the ink tag on. Can you help me with it?
Oh, good call. Yeah. See, that's smart.
Go to the Marshalls and just be nice.
See, that's one of the reasons I also like this show is that, we've committed some crimes, but we are giving practical advice.
Exactly. Practical advice. I will let you know that Target and the Amazon are lending libraries. You can get, at one point during this tour, is one of the people on the tour definitely buying a full-on air mattress and like sleep setup and then returning it in 3 days? Yeah, that's what's happening.
This mattress didn't meet my needs.
They don't even ask me.
I know,
anymore.
They don't care. They don't care.
It's like they get it. And the same thing too, just don't do it at a place where there's commissions, because then that messes up somebody's numbers. But like, if you're returning to whatever, like, it's like, I don't know. I worked at a Home Depot. I've seen every type of like weird power tool theft grift you could possibly see.
Yeah.
So yeah, get your grift on if you have to.
I also would hate the idea of just like, sorry kids, no dinner this week. Somebody returned an air mattress.
Yeah. Yeah, don't do that to don't.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that to anybody. That's horrible. If you've ever worked in like retail sales and you go to like look at your numbers, you're like, I'm doing the math in my head. I've done like 1,500 today. I'm doing great. Oh my God, I've sold so many shitty pairs of Armani Exchange jeans. Here we go. And then you walk up to the register and someone has returned. This happened one time. This man returned on my watch, on my account, returned a pair of jeans that not only had been altered, but also had soup on them. And I was like, sir, there is soup on these jeans. And he said, and finally the manager was like, Anna, sometimes you just got to take the L.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, soup jeans. Cool.
Yeah, but the fact that he had them altered and he still, like, if you went to the like effort to get some jeans altered, like they should fit pretty great, soup stain or not. So the fact that like this man cannot find a pair of jeans that fits him. That's the worst thing. It's like, I feel bad for that dude. Just like, I tried so many things.
If you're in an Armani
this
exchange,
booty can't be contained.
Yeah, if you're in an Armani exchange, a lot has gone wrong already. But I stopped shoplifting when I had 90 days clean. So I was still shoplifting clean. Like, could not stop myself.
Yeah, it was probably like to have some kind of high in your life, right? Like, you already gotten rid of one.
I just want to put the greeting card in your purse. But why I stopped was I was at the Express across from the Gap in downtown San Luis Obispo.
Hot.
And I had a big old, what my big grift was is I would just, you know how people walk around with a big haul of stuff on their hands? Mm-hmm. And then if you just put a coat over that, boop, it's gone.
Okay, yeah, but that just seems blatantly obvious.
Like that.
Whoa, where'd that notebook go?
Exactly. That's what I was doing. And
are you a wizard?
I'm a wizard. Yeah. And one day I set the alarm off, and the security person, clearly there was probably a blurry picture of me in the back, and the security person made eye contact with me, and I just dropped everything and I scrammed, and I never shopped at that Express again.
Like your water broke, but it was all merchandise.
But it was just merchandise. I was just like, ah, and I ran. And then I called my sponsor, and we worked out a deal that before I went into any retail stores that I didn't work in. By the way, I also worked in a small business at the time, and I was the best at catching people shoplifting because I was so good at shoplifting. I would walk up behind teenagers and be like, "You gonna pay for that cat collar, or are you just gonna walk out with it like a little bracelet? Because I just want to know if I need to write it down." And they would be like,
you become the most valuable employee because it's like hiring somebody that used to be a hacker to work for the FBI, right?
Oh my God, what if the FBI? Oh my God, what if I were in the shoplifting division?
Where the major crimes unit, as it's referred to.
The major crimes unit. I'm gonna send you a podcast I guested on, and that was how the guy started. Is he was a Marshall's shoplifting security guy, and then he got hired by the Bureau of Alcohol, the beautiful
ATF.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The ATF, and brought down a biker gang.
Damn. Yeah. That's called stepping up in the world.
Yeah. He made way more money at Marshall's. That's the rub.
But nobody's gonna make a movie about the guy that stayed the Marshall's manager.
Absolutely. But then there were, I guess I could talk about just random thefts.
I was gonna say we're gonna be wrapping up here sometime soon. Anyway,
okay, I'm gonna give you a speed round. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Obviously, work theft. If you're not stealing from your employer, why are you going to the office? Just work from home.
I was gonna say everybody's allowed to steal a little bit from time to time, even if it just was for your own sanity.
I stole probably hundreds of dollars of pistachios from a rehab I worked at. I was like, shelled pistachios? You don't pay me $14 an hour and I have to drive to Malibu. Yeah. Fuck you. Great. I'm eating all of these.
Just tossing shells out the window
no
like in
$100
bills.
I'm saying there were no shells.
Oh, the shelled ones.
You know the shelled ones. That's coming up in the world.
Yeah.
That's fancy. I'll be in the Costco with my shelled pistachios being like, you're a fancy lady. You deserve nice things. So there's that. Of course, driving under the influence. Mm-hmm. We used to make our own edibles back when weed was medical marijuana was for people greeting God. That's literally, it was for people that were about to just die, right? Mm-hmm. And so it was a sledgehammer, and we homemade edibles. You have no idea how good you have it. We used to just put as much in as our little taste buds could tolerate, and then I remember eating I don't know about this much of lemon bar.
Damn, dude.
And then
that's a journey.
And then I was like, I'm gonna drive to San Luis Obispo to that frat party where I would go to frat parties and steal their booze and drugs and leave.
Under the influence of edibles.
Yeah. I would just go. And what happened is I had to pull over because there was a construction zone, and I started freaking the fuck out.
Because is this a checkpoint?
I started losing I just remember being like, oh, I fucked up. And I just sat in my car on the side of the road for many hours.
Just any bright light, like a deer, you're just like, I'm scared now. It's blinking.
I made a mistake. It was one of those where it was by the time I tried to make myself throw up, it was too far into the system to fix it.
You just get that deep panic when you're super high and it just kind of consumes you.
I think I committed, no, I know this. I think I committed insurance fraud not too long ago.
Good. That'll be TBD, and by the time this episode comes out, we'll know. And we'll keep everybody updated on Anna's status.
Yeah. And one time I got pulled over, and the police told me that I just forgot. This is when I first got sober. I had forgotten to pay my registration for 4 years. No one pulled me over until that night. And the man just started laughing at me. Yeah. I was like, actually, he was like, ma'am, are you high? And I was like, no, I just came from a karate class. I'm completely dehydrated. I've been sober for a whole year. See? And I like waved my book at him. And he was like, please go home and pay your registration.
Yeah, I was gonna say, listen, I don't know what you're on right now. I think it's just the high of life. But yeah, you gotta take care of this shit.
Yeah. So that was... that's the speed
I love that speed round. That's like a confessional. You're like, I just need to get all of this out there so I feel better about myself.
You should interview more people in 12-step programs because this is a thing we do.
Yeah.
We write down our crimes.
Yeah. Like,
and then we talk
right
about
the
them.
wrongs. Yeah, that's good. That's why this show exists. Well, thank you so much for being a guest on the show today. It's really nice to talk to you. And like I said, it's been really awesome to watch you do comedy since you've been in town. So
likewise, thank you.
Plug all your stuff, the social media stuff. I know you guys are on tour right now.
We're on tour. The tour's called It's Fest. Pussycat, kill. It's very silly. We're on our way to Fest and back. And you can find me on all social media at Anna V is Funny. I finally got this. It used to be Anna V is Fun. I finally got the self-esteem for an N and a Y.
Nice.
Yeah, and then you can go to my website, annavalenzuela.com, or check out Brandy Posey. She's also on the tour, and John Michael Bond's on the tour, but Brandy does bands in town. So you can find the gigs that we'll be doing with her. And then when does this come out?
Yeah, in a couple weeks.
In a couple weeks?
Yeah.
Okay, so by that time, you can use that bands in town. We'll be going through New Orleans, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and then back to California.
Tight. Yeah,
so.
It looks like a pretty rad tour. And you're all really funny, cool people. So
Thank
it'll be a great time.
Thank you. It should be really fun.
All right. See ya.